Looks like people are still joining. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just start. It looks like people are still. Ms. Freitag, are you there? Let's see, Anne. And Mr. Robinson, are you letting people in for me to the meeting? Thank you.
Ms. Thompson, I removed the waiting room so they just come in automatically.
Thank you very much.
No worries. And just as a heads up, we are recording, so the recording has already started.
Okay.
So
I'm going to go ahead and start, if that's okay with everybody. I think people will be joining in the next probably 3 and 4 minutes to jump on. So thank you everybody for joining us. We have a big crowd tonight. So we are 1 week in. So I don't know about everybody else, but I think most people are feeling pretty exhausted. It's been a busy week for everybody. And I know there are a lot of questions, and there have been a lot of questions throughout the week. So I just want to start by thanking you guys, all the parents, for sending questions as they came up to us and for being patient as we try to answer. I particularly would like to say thank you for your patience today. Today seemed to be a really busy day around questions, and it may be as a result of the email that went out last night with the expectations that were on it, which were more for middle and high school. So I know it's been different in both schools, but still there's been some really good things happening, as well as some struggles that we're up against, and we're still working on that. So I'm going to start by just asking Mr. Boggio and Ms. Freitag to just recap the first week and remind people of expectations. And then, again, you can put your questions in the chat for me, and Mr. Robinson and I will, Mr. Robinson probably will navigate those questions. I did try to combine some of the questions, and which were mostly for the middle high school. And Ms. Freitag has answered a lot of them, and a lot of those questions got answered in the email that went out last night. So we'll get to some of the more pressing issues as we're going to try to end this again at 7 o'clock, but we'll move from there. So Mr. Boggio, I don't know if you want to start with just an overview and how things are going and anything you want to recap.
Oh yeah, sure. Thanks, Karen. Hi, everyone. Boy, it seems like we've been in school forever and it's only been a week, but this takes a lot of energy, and I really appreciate the parents who are going through as much as we're going through, trying to make it be successful for the kids. But I do want to talk a little bit about the expectations, and we're having some, to be honest with you, some struggles with is the biggest thing is to try to set up an environment at home that will be distraction free, including animals and pets, TV and electronic devices, siblings. I know it can be very difficult to separate that out, but one of the things that we're having happen at the elementary level when we're having a meeting going on is there's a lot of background noise and other distractions which are occurring, and that kind of takes away from the classroom environment. And frankly, we're just struggling with how to manage that situation. Talk to the teachers a little bit about it today, and they'll have to go across and adjust either mute or unmute people, and it just makes for another level of classroom management, which we have never experienced before. So we're just trying to work through it, and we really need your cooperation and help in setting up an environment that's going to be conducive to that learning happening. I think things went well with the packets that we've been providing for parents. Our pickup will remain Friday during the day. and just call in. If you have a specific time or need, maybe later on in the day, as long as you call ahead on Thursday, by Thursday, we can adjust our schedules here at the elementary building. So I think I'm happy that morning meeting is going well. One of the things that we talked about today at our staff meeting is the privacy rights of students, those in the classroom and those remotely. So we're going to have the cameras will be including the remote, the in-school learners during morning meetings, so you can feel like you're part of the morning meeting and part of the group. After that, they'll be trained on either the smart board, the whiteboard, or the teacher who is doing instruction. That's just a small adjustment we've learned that we need to make along the way to protect the privacy of individuals in both the remote setting and the in-school setting. So I think that's really the extent of my update. I just want to again thank everybody for all their efforts.
Thank you, Mr. Boggio. I would like to reiterate thank you to the parents for following along on this journey with us and for being willing to give us feedback. I particularly appreciate the constructive feedback we've been getting around things that aren't working. I mean, you guys know better than us sometimes what's happening at home on the other end of these computers, so it helps for you guys to send that to me or to Mr. Boggio or Ms. Freitag. I also would like to just remind everybody that reaching out to the children's teachers is really helpful also. I mean, especially at the elementary school level where they have them all day. I think reaching out directly to the teachers, and the teachers are going to respond as quickly as they can, but being mindful that they might not get to you immediately. And if you still are not getting to them, you're not hearing from them, you can always reach out to Mr. Boggio or myself. And we're trying to make follow-up calls as quickly as we can to turn around things. And I do believe that this is going to get smoother. I say trust me, and I mean trust me. I think it's really going to get smoother in a few more weeks. It's just I'm reminding myself that we are 6 days in, that's it, and we're all new at this. So we're working hard, and reaching out as much as you can to the teachers would be helpful. So I'm going to let Ms. Freitag take it from here and just give an update, and then we'll address some specific concerns that came through your email. And also, as you have questions, if you want to put them in the chat, please feel free, and we'll get to those at the end of the meeting.
Hey, thank you, Karen, and it's nice to see all the parents on board tonight. Thank you so much. One of our issues is, as Joe mentioned in his discussion, was what is the learning environment at home like? Are the students in a place where there's no distractions, where they can really investigate what the assignments are and respond to the teacher appropriately? We're seeing a lot of the kids, not a lot, but many kids engaged in chat with each other instead of with the teacher. And so if you're home with your child, can you monitor, are they in the chat room? Are they talking to kids? Are they talking to the teacher? And if so, what does that conversation look like in that chat room? Because one of the things about our Office 365 on Teams is that kids can engage and chat with each other. And particularly at the high school, we're seeing that that's kind of a distraction, and not a healthy distraction at times. We are anticipating that there will be some map testing coming up on the horizon. We're hoping in the middle high school that we can start the map assessments the week of September 28th. And so if you're a remote student and you want to participate in that, so we have some baseline data on what you've learned and what you might need some support with, you should contact one of our guidance counselors, either Teresa Diorio in the middle school or Erica Stolpinski in the high school, or certainly you can reach out to Karen or I, and we'll make sure that that remote testing is available to you for map testing. We're only going to be doing 2 of the tests, the reading test and the math test, and they're not that long. They're about 45 minutes each. So those map testing dates, again, September 28th is when we hope to start. You don't have to do it on that date, but we would like to get that baseline assessment done. As you know, especially for students who have an IEP, that data is critical for looking at growth from year to year. So we like that map data. One other area that we're paying attention to is attendance. we look at students' attendance based on how they participate in the class. Do they log into the class if they have internet? Are they engaged? Does the teacher feel that they are participating to the full extent as if they could be in school? If they are not on the internet, we do remind people that you have to call into the school for your attendance daily to let us know that the student is well and working. So I think those are our 3 areas. And again, I have to say that we're really appreciative of you folks out there who are making sure that the kids are doing their assignments, they're engaging with the classwork, and it looks like for the most part, most students are doing a great job. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Anne. So I'm going to go over a few of the items that came up, or in a few important announcements, things we want to make, talk to you about. The first thing, really important, is school pictures are coming, and teachers, parents have been asking about that. So for the high school, we're going to open up school pictures for remote learners to a specific time, so students aren't coming in all throughout the day. So I am embarrassed to say I didn't write down the date of high school pictures, but I do have the time.
Yeah, so for the middle high school, we're looking at September 22nd.
Okay, thank you.
And we would like the kids to come in around 7:50 to 8:20.
Right.
And they can enter through the gym, get their picture taken very quickly before everybody else gets on board.
Yeah.
So September 22nd. And if that time frame from 7:50 to 8:20 in the morning does not work, just call and we'll schedule you in.
Mm-hmm. And on that day, I will be at the gym lobby. So I will just, if you're there for pictures, just tell me that you're there and we'll send you on your way to get pictures. Mr. Bogio, do you have an idea of when your picture time might be?
Yes. So our date is a little bit later in the year. It's October 7th. I believe that's a Wednesday. And the way I was thinking it would work best in our situation is the children would be at recess and lunch around 11 o'clock. So the 11 to about 12 o'clock time frame for our remote learners to try to come in would be great. Obviously, if it fits better, you could just call ahead and we can work you into the schedule. They have a really good system where they're not actually sitting this year. They're doing like a standing pose. So they've gone very carefully through their procedures to make sure that individuals will be safe when they're getting their picture taken.
Great, thank you, Mr. Bogio. So that's pictures. I know that there, as Anne had mentioned, there have been some attendance concerns at the school, at the middle high school level. I'm just going to reiterate that. I guess I'll back up for a minute. The email that went out last night talked about students being on camera at the high school level, middle high school level, and I would just like to let everyone know that was something that came out of, we were concerned that we wanted to make sure there was accountability for all of the students that were coming to school. And it was a little bit messy in March, which we were trying to tighten that up a bit. What we know is that it's a lot for teachers to juggle their regular classroom and making sure the kids on screen are on, but we want to make sure there's equity for both. So I know that, and Anne can speak to this if she'd like to, but I just want to, the piece that went out last night does say that teachers will have the discretion to have video class time broken into discrete sections. For example, students may log in at the beginning of class, work independently, and then log in again at the end of class for closing activities. This model may be used to reduce screen time, particularly in the middle school blocks of English and math. So we really have decided that, yes, we are asking students to be on screen. However, teachers are going to use their discretion about having, requiring kids to be on screen, because what we were hearing was, it's working okay, the kids are checking, we're hearing kids' voices, we know they're there, we're engaging them. We're really working with our teachers to help them to remember to engage with the kids that are online. Again, it's a bit of a challenge to struggle to manage all that, but we'll continue to work with teachers so that all the students are feeling part of that class. We don't want our remote learners to be left out. Another reason why we like them to be on screen. We like to see their faces. We miss them. I think teachers feel more connected when they can see it, when they can see the students. So, so that's why we're asking that. You may have a teacher say, no need, just check in today. Here's the assignment. You don't need to be on the screen necessarily. So although we really are encouraging and want students to be there, they at least need to be visible through audio. They need to be, I don't know if visible's right, but they need to be on audio so they can be engaging in conversations. And being on a screen, some teachers really are going to say, we want the student on a screen for this activity because it makes more sense. Is that correct, Ann? Am I saying that correctly?
Absolutely. You know, it's one thing we don't see the kids. It's easier to forget who they are and how they're doing. And that sometimes that facial recognition, you get a smile or you get the puzzled look, and you know that you can respond to that better. So it is a challenge not seeing somebody's face. Yep.
Thank you. So I hope that puts some of the ease on some of the parents that are feeling like my child. I know that some students have some anxiety and about being on screens. We want to pay attention and be mindful of all that. So we're working on that, and hopefully that answers some of those questions. I know there's been some issue with sound on the other end of the computers. We are working on figuring out a way to make the sound better. We know this, that if the teachers stay very close to their computers and close to their cameras and microphones, parents are reporting to me they can hear much better. So we're encouraging teachers to do that. However, we also have to remember there's often 15 other kids in the classroom and they have to go respond to their needs too. So they might step away from the microphone, or they might have an activity that's got them moving around. So if you're struggling and your student is struggling with not being able to hear and feeling like they're missing something in the class, please email that teacher and let them know that they're not being, your child that can't hear, okay? That will be really helpful to call that teacher directly, all right? And then also the tech department has asked that you keep track of the classes that you're not hearing in well, because we don't know if it's coming from a bandwidth issue, if there's a specific issue in that classroom with the technology. So if you can track that and say, I know that during this time, every day in this classroom, I'm having trouble with the sound, and let me know that, we can get that to the tech department and they can go look at those pieces and hopefully be able to respond to some of those.
Yeah.
Ann?
So Karen, I'm just going to pause here and say that some of the neat things that happen is a student will email me. If I happen to see it, it'll say, oh, I'm waiting to get in. I can call the teacher and say, the student is waiting to get in, so they can let her in. Or they might email me and say, I can't hear. So if you let us know in that time frame, or if the student is really on task, it's really helpful to us to isolate what is the problem and how can we fix it.
That's right.
Thank you.
And also, Mr. Boggio had mentioned something in our meeting the other day and talked about how we're really trying to emulate what it would be like for our remote learners, to emulate what it would be like, just like if they're having a day in school. So we are encouraging, and we want our students to be logging in before 15 minutes into the class, or checking in before that time. I realize, we understand that sometimes they try and can't get in, but you may see a tardy in PowerSchool because they didn't log in until much later. So please be aware that we are expecting that our students will be on at the right time and will be and won't decide to come in late to the class. Many parents have talked about some concerns about the waiting room. I didn't realize until today, and this is just shows you how we're all at sort of different technology levels, that some teachers don't even have a wait room, so there's not that problem. Some teachers do. Teachers are really using this platform in ways that work for them, and maybe changing that as they go when they find out, oh, I don't need to have a wait room, or things like that. So we do know that there's stuff happening. We can't see the kids that are we know the names of kids that are in the waiting room, but we don't know what's happening. And so we really can't monitor what's happening in the waiting room. So I'm going to try to have teachers not use that as much if we possibly can. Let's see. If you're too many lates, again, I think we talked about etiquette. That was a big thing that came up this week from our teachers. just the etiquette of, meeting etiquette. And that means there shouldn't be outside discussion. There shouldn't be, we want students to come to the table prepared. They learn better when they are, we've had students that we've had to ask parents to please make sure that they're sitting up, that they're dressed, that they're in front of the computer. So we would ask you to continue to work with your child on that. And help us through that process, because that's become a bit of a concern for some teachers. Let's see. I see something in there about the kids without computers are not getting the same info on classwork as the school learners. And I don't know if that person means that that's at elementary school, that they're not getting the same thing, or at the high school level. I do know that flash drive students are getting assignments that are very comparable to what's happening in the classroom. We are doing the best we can to make sure that we're giving the students to keep an equitable situation. So teachers are loading those flash drives, and the new policy at the high school is going to be pickup will be on Friday and drop off will be on Friday. So we'll be doing a turnaround time with that every week. And Anne?
So again, Karen, it's really hard for us on an individual basis. So if you think there's an issue with what materials the kids are getting if they don't have a computer, why don't you give me or Karen an email, tell us specifically which classes that we can assist you with, because like we're in the first, second week of school here, and it is a challenge, and we don't want anybody to fall behind. And we do offer, I know Mrs. Homecrest had some of her kids who are remote learners come in after school, so they just have a very quiet, low-key meeting on how things are going. So the more detailed the information you can give us, the better it will be for everybody.
Thank you, Anne. That's really important. If you know that there's a specific class you feel like they're not getting the same work in, please let us know. I will tell you that there's been some concern about the flash drive learners perhaps being behind because things haven't been loaded yet. Be assured that we are letting our teachers know in the last week and this week that we are easing into this. So we know that some of our flash drive learners haven't gotten a lot of work for this week yet. So we will let the teachers know to be mindful of that and to give them time to catch up and to make sure that they're getting work to them in a timely manner. Let's see. I want to remind people.
Karen, Hannah has her hand up.
Yeah, I have a question. So my son, Nolan, he's in the 2nd grade in Miss Landry's class. I believe I said that. I hope I said that right. I've been having a lot of trouble getting onto Power School. I think I've emailed Karen Thompson about it and some other people about it. I know Miss Janie has been trying to help me with it. No matter what I do, I can't seem to get onto there. Also, Miss Landry told me that she's not going to start doing live sessions for the class until next Monday on the 21st, I believe. Hold on, I have my calendar right here. I just want to make sure that Nolan's attendance isn't going to be affected by the delay in the live sessions, because he has been meeting with Miss Janie every day at 1. So I don't know if she puts that in her notes and it's counted as attendance. I mean, we still work on the packets all day, the packets that were sent home, so he is doing the work. It's just with the live sessions, like you said, the teachers like to see their face. They like to make sure that they're there and present. So I was just wondering, is that going to affect his attendance at all?
So, Hannah, if what we've asked is that you call in and let us know that your son's working on his work.
Okay, every day?
Yep, just
Okay.
you could email the attendance and say it's HES attendance at hnhsd.org.
Okay, let me write that down. I have everything. So, what? So, what was that email?
It's HES attendance.
Okay.
At hnhsd.org.
I'm sorry, what?
hnhsd.org. Hinsdale, New Hampshire School District.org.
Okay.
And then each Friday, if you pick up a new packet this Friday, turn in the work, and then that way we see that he's been working away at it.
Thank you, Mr. Boggio.
All right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's see. Mrs. O'Malley wanted me to bring up just some help perhaps for HASP students, anybody that is in the after school program, and they are in need of any help, homework help, any things that's happening in class that they might need extra help with. They can reach out to Mrs. O'Malley and let her know, and she will set you up with some assistance from Miss Elking, who's going to be doing some remote. She's going to be working with all the remote HASP kids. So that's a really nice bonus for anybody that's got after school students in the HASP program. That's a whole, I didn't know, that just came to me today. So I'm really happy to hear that that's another opportunity for parents and for students to get that help if they need it. So please reach out to me or to Miss O'Malley, and we'll send you in the right direction for that help. Any high school students, that reminder that driver's ed is happening. So I believe that starts next week. I believe. So just a reminder, Mrs. Skilley wanted me to remind everybody about that. And I wanted to let everybody know that at this, from this point on, we had talked about we would do one of these meetings every quarter. I think that makes sense for the whole group. In the meantime, communication is really, really, really critical. I'm seeing that because I'm inundated with so many people that just have questions, and I totally want to make sure that we're being mindful of all your needs and concerns. The way that it's going to work best from here on out for me, and I think for teachers, and for parents, is that I'm going to break these Zoom meetings into grade levels. And I'm going to do them in the evenings. So I will be sending out a schedule. I'll probably do it in chunks just for parents, and you don't have to attend, but certainly I'll be doing them weekly through the month of September into October. At the end of the quarter, I think we can look and see, do we need to do them every month, every week? Maybe we do, I don't know. I think we're going to see how this rolls. I will send out a schedule of when those meetings will be, and I think I'm going to combine grades. I'm going to talk to Mr. Bogie about how that might work, and maybe that might allow even some of the players that are in those grade levels to be on those meetings with me. So I'll be doing those probably 3 nights a week, and I'll do them in half-hour increments. So probably by Friday, I will send out a full schedule of when those meetings are, and you will start getting Zoom invites to these. So I think that's going to work better. Please also know that if you think that isn't going to work and you still need to have a more personal conversation, that I'm available for that too. But I do think that both the principals have been, even in their crazy busy days, have been incredibly helpful of getting back to parents as much as they can and getting that done. So that will be the schedule for that. Ann, did you have something else?
So I'm looking at the chat, and someone has a question about how we set the computers up in the classroom. And I think most of the teachers are trying to use a laptop to capture the image on the smart board, and they're teaching kind of like in a triangle. So you got the smart board at one corner, the laptop facing the smart board, and the teacher facing the class. And it is a real challenge as to where we set up the computer. But there was a question in here about how maybe you could set it up so it's facing an empty seat, as if the child was in the classroom. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that question is asking me exactly. But there is an interesting question there in the chat.
Yeah, I do see that. So I'm going to also ask Ms. Holmquist. Maybe you can answer. I don't know if you can. Ms. Holmquist is here. She's our business teacher at the high school. And there's a question on here, and Ms. Holmquist, you may have looked at this, about the mirroring of a smartboard. I know that was a question. Can things be mirrored? And were you able to get an answer on that?
So I'm not quite sure what you're asking. It seems to me that I'm not sure mirror is what you're asking. Are you asking if we can share the smartboard with the camera? So Nina, if you could help just expand what you're asking a little bit. Yes, so I know in my classes, what I do is I share the smartboard with the camera. Now, that does make me less agile when I'm trying to go from me to one thing on the smartboard to another smartboard. But I am able to do that fairly successfully, and I think it's working. It's working in my accounting class, for example, where things are very detail oriented on the smartboard. And maybe it's just, maybe if you shared that information with your child's teacher, I'm sure they have no idea, because I know I ask my students, how are you seeing this? Is this okay? What are you seeing? Because I can't see for sure what they're seeing, and I really want my students to share that with me so that I can fix it. And I feel like every day of school this year so far, and I know we're only in the second week, but every day I've made little tweaks to make it better for my remote students. And I think teachers are really trying hard to do that. So what I can say is share, just share what you're experiencing.
So thank you, Ms. Holmquist. And it looks like so I'm just going to answer a couple of these questions that are coming in, which are really, really great questions and very helpful suggestions. Lindsay, thank you for your suggestion about the Gmail, and you can, if you guys want to scroll through that chat, Lindsay Blake put in a great idea about you can, on Gmail, you can, on your send button, there's an arrow, you can schedule your email. So you could schedule your emails ahead of time. So
Yep, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm writing it all down so that way I can do it.
Great, perfect. So thank you, Lindsay. Thumbs up to Lindsay for helping us with that. I think that'll help parents. And if anything changes, it looks like there's a way to do that. It does look like there's a couple questions about, can the students at home have a view of the front of the class where the teacher is rather than a view of all the students? I don't know, Mr. Bogio or Ms. Freitag, I don't know. Is that possible?
So it's something that we are, still working on. We got longer extension cords for USB, which is what the web cameras run off of. The problem is you cannot run anything with a USB just because of the technology for longer than 16 feet. So you can get probably to about the middle of the classroom with the extension USB and put the camera out there. But we're still, we're in day 7 tomorrow, and we're still setting up our webcams in an orientation that makes it, worthwhile for everybody. We're using music stands in some of the rooms to be able to mount the cameras and get the angle just right. So it's just, if you can, like Karen has said, kind of just let us know through email. When I say let us know, I would say myself and Mrs. Thompson, and then we can get to our tech department to get the cameras set up in the right orientation for you. And the same thing I will add goes with the sound. We're trying to find the best and most cost-effective way to improve the sound. I think I saw that a headset, like wireless mic set would be like $60 a set. And with these cameras, with the USB extension, we're looking at significantly less money. So we always want to be mindful about what our solution is, because I'm hoping we're not in a situation where we're doing this on September 15th next year.
Yeah, right. Let's hope not. Whew, I can't even think about that. So I am seeing in here, thank you, Mr. Bogio, that was helpful. I am seeing that people are putting in what teachers they're feeling like need mics. So thank you for that. You can let us know. And I think that Ms. Freitag, it looks like it's high school and middle school. So are you seeing the chat, Ms. Freitag, so you can?
I am. Yep.
The other thing I would like you to just let me know if, and parents have been really good about this, if you are feeling like teachers aren't engaging with your students, sometimes I think teachers they simply are they're trying to manage a lot of things. And I know I talked to one teacher today and she was like, gosh, I forgot to call on 2 students today. And she was feeling really badly about that she forgot to call on 2 students that were remote. So if you feel like a teacher isn't engaging with your student, to let us know, and we will reach out to that teacher to remind them or to give them assistance if they need it in the classroom as best we can.
Okay.
Let's see.
So Karen, I'm seeing some things in the chat about marking kids absent, and we are really struggling with attendance. As you know, we probably have a new receptionist who takes care of attendance at the front desk. So in addition to it, as Joe just said, we're only 6 days of school underway. We're training new people. So we will get things caught up, but when we see mistakes like that, it's really good if you can just send us a note, email, or call the school and say, hey, I don't understand attendance. Yep, that's really helpful on your part if you can do that for us.
Right. And I think sometimes they're being marked absent because they may have checked into class and then checked out and then checked back in and then checked back out. We need students once they're in to stay in unless they're getting kicked out or being told that they don't need to any longer be there. But there's been some situations where students are logging in and out in the first, few minutes. And that's not helpful to teachers or to the students. So please let us know if we're still having some attendance issued. And I know that there's some issues with Power School. If you can't get up, parents should be able to get onto Power School, correct, Ms. Freitag, Mr. Bogio?
Everyone should be able to log into Power School at this time. If you're still having trouble,
If you're still having trouble logging in, please send the principal in whatever school, let them know that you're having trouble and they will get that information to you, okay?
And just
Yeah, I've been
for the
having a lot of
record, it
trouble.
is a lot different at the elementary level in terms of what the expectations are for any kind of posting of grades, especially, I'm sure you're aware, we're really not heavily inclined in the academics. We started easing more into academics today, but we wanted to get our kids reoriented into the school setting first.
So let's see. Mr. Robinson, do you see any questions that are in there that we have not addressed yet?
I think one thing while Sean's looking them over, maybe I can pop in for a second.
Sure.
With respect to some of the remote learners, we did anticipate that, like there was one question that was directed to the elementary school, that, they're feeling like they're not getting the same education that all the other students are getting. And we did anticipate that and plan for it in the form of being able to come in after school hours and getting some direct tutoring from a teacher. It would be, obviously, if you're very, very, very concerned about transmission of COVID-19, that teacher has probably been exposed to maybe 12, 14, 15 children, but they would have their mask on and they would be able to provide direct support. So we can use one of the less used entrances and set up meetings for parents and students that want to kind of get caught up if they feel like they're missing out on things. So that option is always there. It would just be an email or a phone call and we can work to set it up. The only days that are a little bit hard to do would be Tuesdays because that's our staff meeting day after school. But at other times we can probably arrange it.
Thank you, Mr. Belger. That is a really good point that we certainly would be available to help or we can arrange something if you feel like your child's getting behind and needs some one-on-one attention. We want to make sure that that's happening. Ms. Robinson, did you see anything? Oh.
Looking through, I think we've covered most things. And I think, again, if a particular student is having a problem in their class and is remote at home, step one would be reaching out to the teacher and just informing them. The teachers are trying really, really hard, but sometimes they don't realize that they're being really quiet or that there's an issue in the chat sometimes. Shoot them an email and just let them know, and then we'll figure it out there. And we can kind of go from there. I think those are kind of the biggest items that I've seen. Otherwise, we've talked about most of them otherwise, I think.
Mm-hmm. I think so too. I think that there's some concerns here around, let's see, turning the chat off. So I think that part of the reason, I don't know, I didn't know teachers was turning chats off, but I know that some teachers did decide, there was some concerns about what was happening in some of the chats, so they may have done that. We will remind teachers to keep their chat on. If you please also be mindful, help us remind your students of etiquette in the chat and to keep it appropriate, and that there shouldn't be private chats happening. Let's see. I also wanted to just bring up the social emotional needs of students. If you are feeling like your child that is remote has any social emotional needs, we do have counselors that are available. We have resources that are available. Please reach out to either the principals or to myself, and we'll connect you with those people so that we can touch base with your student. We want to make sure that your kids are doing okay. Let's see. Anything else that I'm not touching base on? That I'm forgetting, Mr. Boggio, Ms. Freitag, Mr. Robinson, anything you guys can think of, or parents that have any other further questions?
I just want to add again how important it is to establish that partnership, because if you are seeing things at home and you're concerned, share those concerns with us as soon as you can, because clearly we can't keep track of everything that every child is doing on their laptop. And they may see things that are very alarming, for instance, in the chat. So I'm glad somebody brought that up.
And I guess the only thing that, I kind of want to add is, is we've been asked as administrators to communicate some more. But we're also here in school, and, we have a majority of our kids in school. So if we don't hear from you, and if we wait until these remote sessions to hear, then it's getting to be too late already. We have 80% of the kids in school and 20% of the kids in remote. So, we have to divide our time up and figure out ways to meet the needs of everybody. But if we don't hear from you about the needs, like there's so much good information about the camera setup and things of that nature tonight that we've been working on, but you didn't know that we were working on it either. So it's just a matter of talking with each other and emailing if that's easier. I'm happy to work through email too.
Thank you, Joe. And I'm seeing some questions around, could there be extra laptops for students to use? To my knowledge, there are no extra laptops right now, and I don't believe there are. And if there are, I don't know about that. So I don't believe that we're able to offer that, unfortunately, at this time. So that's just.
We have our fingers crossed that an order that we were supposed to have in early September, definitely by now, will be with us by the end of the first quarter, which is the end of October. So we have our fingers crossed, but we don't have any way to make a promise, and that would be for all the second, third, and fourth graders at least to be able to have a laptop, and specifically ones that are remote would have it at home.
Okay. Any other pressing issues, Ms. Freitag?
So I see another note about photocopy paperwork on the laptop. It's hard to see. So again, if you could just let the student have his teacher know, I can't see it. It's hard to see, because some people are scanning documents in, some are showing them right on the smart board and projecting, like they're sharing documents that way. So if we know which teacher it is, we can fix that problem too.
And I see, can parents be CC'd on emails teachers send to the students? I will ask teachers to do that. I think Ms. Holmquist is a teacher and she's raising her hand so she can respond to that.
I just want to say that some emails are system generated. Like if kids are being invited to join the Zoom meeting, those system generated things go out. Things about assignments, it's all system generated. So I don't know that a parent can be added to the system,
Right.
but I would think other emails that teachers are sending out could be.
So I will actually ask teachers via email if they're sending out specific emails, to try to remember to add parents to that. I can't promise. I think they'll do their best, but I will ask them to be mindful of that, and hopefully they will. They're working really hard, so I just like you guys are. So I think I'll try to remember to tell them to add that to things that they really need to do to keep those remote students in the loop. I'm just going through the remote expectations one more time, and I think we've covered everything. The attendance was important. I do want to remind people that once we get into the grading policies, the late work policy will be in effect. So to keep that in mind as we get further into the school year. And that's what I have right now. Please also remember, if you haven't handed in your packet of information, to please get that into the school as soon as possible. We need that information. So get that in. And that's all, I believe. I think I went through all the checklists. I made my list and checked it twice, so I think we're good. And if the principals don't have anything else, I think we'll end with, we will do another meeting at the end of the quarter like this to see how the quarter goes. And in the meantime, you will get a schedule from me about, and the meetings that I'm going to have are going to be smaller, shorter, more personalized, so we can talk about specific situations perhaps, so that it'll be a little bit easier to navigate rather than having so many people on at one time. So I will get that out to you by the end of the week. And we'll go from there. Is that good, Mr. Boggio, Ms. Freitag? You think everything's okay?
I think it's amazing that so many people are engaging, and I appreciate everybody taking time tonight to talk, to give us the feedback. We need it.
Yeah, feedback helps. Feedback's really, really helpful for us. And I know sometimes it feels like, to me, I'm like, oh gosh, are we doing everything okay? But the reality is I think we are, and your feedback, whether it be good or bad, is really, really helpful to us. So thank you. Mr. Boggio, you good?
No, it's just nice seeing everybody again, and hopefully soon, rather than later, we'll be able to be together in person.
I just have one more question for Mr. Boggio. What was your email again? I just want to make sure that I have it. That way I can email you if I need to.
Sure,
I think I have everybody else's.
it's just first initial and then J and last name, BOGGIO, and then again at hnhsd.org.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Now I have everybody's email.
Great. Good. All right. Everybody's good. So I will see all of you at some point next week. And we'll see all of you together at the end of the quarter. So thank you all for hanging in with us. We appreciate all that you're doing to keep this moving forward. This has not been easy for you guys also. So we appreciate it.